Caleb Smith, host of the 3 Milli podcast. What's up, Nia? I see you. Thank you for joining. Pin this comment. If you guys got questions during this interview, more than welcome to ask questions. Have your voice heard. We got Ash Cash in the building. He's coming soon in about 2 minutes. I'm about to get started. But if you guys haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on IG as well if you haven't already. Tell your friends, send this live to whoever so they can get knowledge on finances, financial literacy. This is so important, especially for our age group. We start off with great credit scores. We got Ash in the building right now. But I send you that request, bro.
Hey, peace, bro.
Hey,
what's going on?
What's up with you, man?
What's going on, man? I'm cooling, man. Quarantining and chilling, you know what I mean?
I hear you, man. Hey, I appreciate you, man, hopping on the platform.
Pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
Thank you. Starting off, Ash, man, how did you get started in finances? How did that start?
Man, that was like a man, divine intervention, I call it. I was working at Blockbuster Videos. I was 17 years old working at Blockbuster Videos.
Wow.
Because I used to play basketball. I used to play ball. And got in some trouble. So my last year I couldn't play. So I, idle time, you get into idle mess. And so I didn't want to get in trouble, so I said, you know what, let me get a job. And so I was 17, my final year of high school, but I was going to school and working at Blockbuster Videos. Did that for about 2 years. Got promoted to assistant manager. And then I just started thinking, so I was 19 years old, started thinking about my future. I was like, yo, what am I going to do? I can't continue on this trajectory of being a video store clerk. And so one of the managers was like, yo, they hiring for tellers at the bank. And so I was like, yo, you know what? Let me just go and be a teller at a bank. And so at 19 years old, I got my first job at JP Chase, and the rest is history. It wasn't something that I thought. I mean, I always knew that I love finance and I love money because I was always an entrepreneur. So at 8 years old, I was packing bags at the local supermarket. 12 years old, selling mixtapes and T-shirts.
Already hustling.
You know what I mean? I was already hustling, but I never thought like, yo, I should get a career as a banker. Like I didn't even know it exists. And so at 19, I started working at the bank, and the rest is history. I did everything in banking from teller to personal banker to private banker to branch manager. I was the CEO of a credit union and just kind of killed that early age too. Though by 24, I was a VP at JP Chase, and so I did really well, really quickly. Really just taking what I learned from the streets and and just kind of apply it in a corporate way. And then that's my story. And then after like I want to say 9-10 years. In the banking industry, I realized that I like teaching about money. So in the words of the Honorable Sean Carter, Jay-Z said, "There's much bigger issues in the world I know, but I first have to take care of the world I know." Yeah, you know what I mean. And so for me, coming from the, I grew up in the projects in New York, so like coming from the projects and understanding that world, and then hitting the highest I could hit, in corporate America, I was like, now I want to go back and teach my people. And then here we are today.
I love that, man. Ash, on Earn Your Leisure, that's how I found out about your work, all that stuff. It's a great podcast. Shout out to
Salute to the homies,
yes,
man.
Sir.
Salute to the homies. Sir.
Man, you said something that was so powerful. You spoke about how our 9-to-5 is actually our first investment.
Oh, absolutely.
And sometimes when we're on social media, like we think that it's the way to quit your job and start the business. But now realizing that, hey, you can take care of some of the funding for that business through your job. So how important is it for like my age group that everybody's in their 20s, 30s to understand, hey, although I have this great idea,
I'm in my 30s too, though. Don't say my age group like I'm an old head.
I
just swear.
You still young, yeah, exactly.
Make $1 million while you're young, baby.
I feel you. I feel you. But yeah, man, like how important is it for us to, of course, be ambitious, but to also be patient at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Because I think because of social media, a lot of people make it seem like 9-to-5s are like the devil, like they it's a curse. I wouldn't be where I am without my 9-to-5. Like everything I learned about running a business as an entrepreneur, I learned that from my job actually, as a banker. And there's a term called intrapreneurship, meaning that while you're in your job, you can run it like it's yours, right? Like it's intrapreneurship. And I think that that's what people don't understand. People think so. Entrepreneurship is not sexy, right? Because you know, you're usually the first to get up, and you're usually the last to go to sleep. If you don't grind, you don't eat. Like it's you know, it's not a sexy thing. And so why have that pressure, number one, of running your own thing if you don't have to have the pressure? Like it's like some people, you know, they can't get a job, or for whatever reasons they're forced into entrepreneurship, and so that's a different conversation. But for those who have like 9-to-5s and have jobs, you have to understand that, number one, don't give yourself unnecessary pressure, right? Number one. Number two, you know, like the point I was making on Earn Your Leisure was that it's your first investor, right? Like most people who may need funds and may need certain things to survive while they're building, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes 10 years to be an overnight success, right? And so it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, sometimes it takes shorter than 10 years. I'm just using that as a quote. Yeah. But it doesn't happen overnight. And so as you're building, as you're building and getting to that level of sustainability, you know, having that 9-to-5 or having something that is going to allow you to really focus on your craft is the best thing ever. As an entrepreneur, you're always thinking about, you know, what's next. If you and this is not even only about entrepreneurship, but even from a perspective of you know, your job. If you focus on money, you're not gonna get it. Right? You got to focus on what you're good at and give people what you're good at, the money will come. If you focus on money, you're not going to get it. If you focus like, yo, I got to make X amount of money, yo, I'm going to make this, that's not going to work. I'm not saying that you shouldn't know your numbers. I'm not saying, like, I'm very intentional. I sell every day, right? I'm very intentional about money, right? But what I'm saying is I don't sell by saying, yo, I just got to sell. I sell by saying, yo, how can I be of value today? And how can I find somebody that I could be of value to that's willing to pay me for that value, right? And so if you are focused on money, you're not going to be that successful. So if you have a 9-to-5 and you leave that 9-to-5 and now you have you start this entrepreneurship venture, and because you have this entrepreneurship venture, you're focused on money, that venture is not going to be that good. Right? But if you got that 9-to-5 and you focus on your 9-to-5 and your 9-to-5 is giving you that money, it's investing in you, so you ain't got to really focus on money. And then now that entrepreneurship venture, you're focusing on how to be of value. Very quickly, you will see that the money's just going to start to come. And so I implore anybody who has especially now, right? If you have a 9-to-5 and you don't have to leave, then you know, stick it out. And, you know, really, it's really a perspective, right? And when I say stick it out, I'm not saying if you got a 9-to-5 that you hate, you know what I'm saying? Like it's killing your mental, then you need to go, right? Yeah. Because your mind is the most important thing that you need. So if you got a 9-to-5 and it's killing your head and you like, yo, I hate being here, and it changes your mood or whatever, then yeah, you should leave. But if you got a 9-to-5 that is good and it's paying your bills, and the only reason you want to leave is because you want to be your own boss, I would say change your perspective, use that 9-to-5 as your investor, and keep building until it makes sense for you to leave. Like, I didn't leave my 9-to-5 until it made sense. When I realized, like, you know what? The same energy I'm putting on this 9-to-5, if I put that same energy in my business, I can actually make more money. And that's when it makes sense. So that's what I would tell people for sure.
I love that, Ash. Something else that was on your page that I love is we as a people got to build a relationship with money. Absolutely. Can you expound on that? Because I hear that a lot, but I think people don't really understand what that is. So
so a couple of things, right? So number one, we're taught that we should work hard for money, right? When in fact, people who are wealthy understand that money should work hard for you. And so first you need to switch that relationship with money. You have to stop being the employee of money and letting money tell you what to do. And you need to be the employer, right? You need to tell money what to do, right? So you need to change that relationship. Make money work hard for you instead of you having to work hard for money, number one. But then number two is that you also have to treat money like a relationship, right? A lot of us don't have no money because we treating money like the side chick.
That's
right?
the part.
We treating money like the side chick, right? Like when we get it, we trying to share it with everybody. We're not doing right by it. Like we not you know, getting value. We're not cultivating that relationship. We call past the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like we only call at night. sneaking around. Like we treat money like the side chick. Like you know what I'm saying? You gotta woo money, meaning that you have to have that relationship where you like, yo, what's up, my like you number one, like what's good. Let me see what you need. I'm not quick to share you with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not quick to share you with everybody. I'm gonna share you, but I'm gonna share you in a way that's gonna bring value, right? So like, if you're in a relationship, you don't pass your wife, your girlfriend with the homies. Like, yeah, they get to know the homies, and if she could help or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But you're not gonna just like, oh, nah, go ahead. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that we need to change our relationship with money. We gotta understand money is not the side chick. You gotta think about it, right? You like the same way you court your significant other, the same way you treat them, the same way you put them on your mind. Like, that's what you gotta do. And it's not about the worship of money either, right? So I don't want people to think that I'm saying that you're worshiping money, but the fact of the matter. So number one, I believe that God didn't put us on earth to struggle, right? And so money provides financial freedom, and financial freedom provides you the opportunity to live your best life. I believe that God put us here for us to be a demonstration of God, right? And I don't want to get you know what I mean? I don't want to get religious, but the fact of the matter is that God made us in His image, right? And so if we're in the image of God, you think God is struggling? Like, God is the all-seeing, all-being, everything, and God is struggling? God can't have whatever God wants? So if I'm made in the image of God, then abundance is my birthright. And so I need to understand that. And right now, how do I get abundance? I have to have money to do that. So I'm not worshiping money. I'm worshiping my God self, right? I'm worshiping what God told me. God told me I was made in that image. And so if I'm gonna be made in that image and I'm gonna be God-like, then I need abundance. I need more than enough, because God is more than enough. So why I can't be more than enough?
Jeez. Yo, y'all gotta drop some ties in the comments, man. Get this man some ties. Hey, you preaching, Ash?
Yes, sir.
Preaching.
Yes, sir.
And bro,
excuse me. Sometimes I get excited.
I love it. Hey, my dad, he's a preacher, so. But Ash, something as well, man. On 444, I love that album, and I know you probably love it as well.
Yep.
Jay was constantly speaking about credit, generational wealth. I don't think people understand how important credit is. I think
I wrote a whole book about it, right? I don't know if you see that right there. I wrote a whole book.
You already know the vibes, then, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You already know.
Not to cut you off. I'm sorry, because I just I get hyped.
Hey,
but
you're good.
Yeah, but yeah. So when 444 came out, that was actually one of the reasons why I actually wrote the book. So I got a book called The Wake Up Call: Financial Lessons Learned from 444. And the reason why I wrote the book is because after I listened to a story of OJ, and he started saying, you know what I'm saying, what's better than spending money in the strip club? And he said credit. I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And then, after I got past that and started listening to the album and realized that the album was 80% about financial gems, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, I need to write this book. And so, I think that, in my opinion, that is one of the most culturally relevant albums out, because it helps us, change our mindset as it relates to money, right? Don't die over the neighborhood that your mama renting. You know what I'm saying? Take that drug money and buy the neighborhood. That's how you rinse it. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
And so so I think that it's actually time for us to start focusing on generational wealth. It's time for us to start breaking the cycle of poverty. So when you think about us, the leaders of the new school, as we call ourselves, those in the 20s and 30s. You know what I'm saying? I'm still an OG.
Still young.
You know what I mean? Still young.
Young OG.
Nah, but I'm knocking on 40's door. Let me stop fronting like I ain't gonna be 40 next year. Like, let me stop fronting. But I'm still holding on to it. But I think it's time now for us to start having those conversations about generational wealth. And again, us as the leaders of the new school, we have to understand that poverty starts with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have everything in our arsenal. You know what I mean? You can make $1 million while you're young. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle.
Yes,
and it's viable. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's blueprints out there. We can really just kind of do it. We need to focus on our credit, because credit is going to allow us to take advantage of wealth building principles. The wealthy people use credit to build to build wealth. Like, I give this example about Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? So people, because you know, like no disrespect to Dave Ramsey, but a lot of times people are like, yo, I'm trying to live the debt-free lifestyle, but at the end of the day, if wealthy people are using debt, why wouldn't we use debt, right? And so I'll give you a quick example. Jay-Z and Beyonce bought a $100 million, I think it was $130 million house in California, right? They had put $50 million down, and they financed the $80 million, right? And so you know, Jay-Z's a billionaire. Beyonce is worth 600 million. Like they good. So like why would they need? They could just pay 80 million cash, right? And so if you understand the principle of credit, what happens is at the time that they took out the $80 million loan on their house, the percentage that they were getting was 4%, right? So they got a 4% loan on $80 million, right? And so now they were able to, right, if they have the right financial advisors, they were able to take that $80 million that they would have spent on cash, right? And they were able to put that into an investment that was paying them 8 to 10%, right? So think about that. If they took their cash and locked it in, right, in a house for 30 years, then they would actually be losing 4 to 6% each year on that money. So instead, what they did was they took 80 million in cash, they put it in an investment that's giving them 8 to 10%, and then now that money that they get each year, they could take the 4% and pay off that mortgage, and they're up still 4 to 6%, opposed to taking that money in cash. That is a wealth principle. That's how you use wealth. That's how you use debt to build wealth. Because now for 30 years, right, they took out a 30-year mortgage. For 30 years, they're now going to be making 4 to 6% on $80 million that would have ordinarily been sitting in their house as value. And so it's these type of things that we need to educate ourselves on, because as we educate ourselves on these things, we understand how to properly use credit, how to properly use money, how to properly use life insurance, how to properly save our money, invest, all these things that's going to break the cycle of poverty. So that way our children don't have to start where we started. They could, you know what I'm saying? Like what Jay said, I said the child shall lead. So I take it as far as I can, and then we shall see. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, right? Take it as far as you can. Grind and take it as far as you can, and let the children lead. You know what I'm saying?
Big facts, man.
Yeah.
And correlating with that past example that you just gave, what is the importance of us leaving a legacy? Because sometimes, you know, I hear with parents, oh, I had to get it out the mud, so my kids, like, they'll have to do the same thing. But when we look at other ethnic groups, they don't believe in that. It's, hey, I got it, you got it.
Yeah, it's poverty thinking, you know, because, you know, again, I feel like, to that verse I just said, you know what I'm saying? The child shall lead. So I take it as far as I can, and then we shall see. So I got 2 kids, you know what I'm saying? I got a 12-year-old, I got a 4-year-old. And I've been setting them up since birth, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that I don't know how far, you know, God's going to let me go, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. So every single day, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm at the mercy of God. Every single day I just want to max out, right? And then, so, you know, when I started at the negative, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that there was no wealth in my family whatsoever, right? And so now, you know, as somebody who's built some wealth, you know, I got properties, things of that nature, my wife, you know what I'm saying? Like we're building stuff for our family. When God finally said, all right, it's your time is up. Now, my daughter or my son, they're not starting from zero. They're starting from where I left off. And then now they're gonna go as far as they can. And what happens is, and this is what I want people to understand, is that struggle doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Struggle is actually a part of life. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm pretty sure at $1 billion, Jay is still struggling, right? Jay is still trying to figure out some stuff. Bill Gates is still trying to figure out some stuff. Warren Buffett, you know what I'm saying? He's like on the tail end of his life, so he's chilling now. But as he was coming, he was trying to figure out some stuff. You know what I mean? Mark Zuckerberg, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Russell Simmons, you name them. Robert Smith, Oprah, they all figuring out stuff. Oprah was worth $1 billion and started a network and was still trying to figure out how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So struggle doesn't stop. Struggle isn't about money. Struggle is about that legacy. And so what happens is that when you get to whatever level, right? Life is a journey, not a destination. When you get to that level that you get to, now you pass the baton, right? In the words of Nip, the marathon continues, right? So you go as far as you can, and you pass the baton. I get it out the mud, and so my kids gonna have to learn too. That's poverty thinking, because if you don't understand how wealth works, then of course you'll say that. And I don't blame somebody who says that, because they don't understand. If they understood, they wouldn't even have that narrative. Because at the end of the day, here's the other piece of it too, is that legacy is not only about your family, right? It's about community as well. And so, you know, I'm at a space right now that what I do every day, yes, at the end of the day, my kids are going to be the beneficiaries of my hard work, but they're not going to be the only beneficiaries, right? Because my goal is, because, you know, as I, you know, attain multi-million and hopefully billions of dollars, I'll be able to now employ people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be able to be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Let's, you know, who can I employ? And as I'm employing people, right, and teaching them the way, now they become, you know, people who are able to lead the way. They become people who to set legacies for their family, right? And so, you know, my intention right now for the rest of my life is to, now I got this game. I want to make millionaires too. Like, I want to make a bunch, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And so I think that when we think about legacy, people only think about themselves and their family, but it's bigger than that. Like, you could change a whole community. You could change a whole generation's way of thinking. And then now we really break the cycle of poverty. So now when your kids need something, they ain't got to go nowhere but talk to my kid. Yeah, my kid can talk to your kid, and we can pull each other up. You know what I'm saying?
Group economics.
That's what legacy is about, for sure.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Hustlenomics, amazing book, amazing concept, man. Shout out to you. About Nick, that's one of my favorite rappers of all time. You've quoted him multiple times already in this interview.
Yeah.
What can we learn from Nick, from his legacy, and also about group economics, how he was changing his whole street, pretty much, his whole neighborhood?
Yeah. So I love. So I remember Tupac once said that I might not change the world, but I might spark the brain that does.
That's right.
And I honestly believe Nipsey Hussle is a combination of Tupac and Jay-Z, right? And that's my personal opinion.
Hey, Tupac of his generation.
Exactly, right? Tupac of my generation. So I feel like from a revolutionary standpoint, you know, he looked and saw what Pac was doing. From a business perspective, he saw, you know, what the Rockefeller, and he actually said this as well. He saw what the Jay-Z's, the Master P's, the Jay Princes, you know, of his generation, of the previous generation, and saw what they did. And what made Nipsey so special, and this is why I wrote the book Hustlenomics, because his legacy couldn't die with him. Not the business legacy, right? His music is gonna last forever, right? But what he was doing from a business perspective has to live on, because the difference between Nipsey Hussle and Jay-Z, right? They both were doing it, but Jay got to a point where he's like, he's the GOAT, right? He's sitting on a throne. And so you really can't get to Jay, meaning like you really can't, I'm not gonna say relate to him. Like, you could relate. You could, like, from an aspirational perspective, you could say, yo, Jay from Marcy Projects, I'm from St. Nicholas Projects. Jay, you know what I'm saying, started in the street, I started in the street. Jay conquered corporate America, I'm gonna conquer corporate America. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do that. Or you could see a cat that is like he's in the hood still. He's teaching you. He still like has ties. You know what I'm saying? And I think that made, you know what I'm saying? Like, it made him special, because he was you know, he didn't wait till he got to a position to teach you. He was teaching you as he was getting to that position. And I think there's something in that, because and that's what I do. That's why I do what I do, right? I remember, like, coming up, man, like I was coming up. I used to, you know, try to reach out to people for mentorship, and people weren't willing to mentor me. You know what I'm saying? And no knock to them. Like I ain't, you know, I'm not like bitter or nothing like that. But I was like, yo, I wish that I was a young guy, hungry. I was trying to, you know, get it where I fit in. And people weren't as willing to mentor me. And so I said to myself that I'm not going to wait till I'm a multi-millionaire, you know, a billionaire, to start, you know, giving back. Like, I'm going to teach the game while I'm learning it, while you know, when I know stuff, or whatever the case may be. And then if people reach out to me, I'm going to be of the people. And that's why I do what I do, because I feel like, yo, like, even though I know that God has a lot left for me to do, but at the same time, there's a lot that I've done that I can actually help and teach people, and that's what I do. And so that's why I feel like Nipsey was so important, because, and is so important. Not was so important, but Nipsey is, you know, so important because of, you know, what he taught, what he was selflessly willing to do, and that's why I wrote the book because it was really in honor of him, but really to be able to kind of take some of the business language, right? When he talks about, you know, I integrated vertically, right? Like what does vertical integration mean, right? What is an ecosystem? You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to break down some of those concepts.
I love that, man. I love that. You mentioned something about, you know, reaching out to people. Sometimes people say no. As an up-and-coming entrepreneur, which is probably plenty in this chat right now, what words of encouragement do you have for us when we reach out to people like me, myself? I reach out to people all the time for interviews. Most I book, but some, you know, people don't reach back. So how do people stay encouraged to keep fighting forward?
Yeah, I think no is your best friend, honestly, you know, because I think the faster you can get the no, the faster you get the yes. You know what I'm saying? Like the more you can get the no. It's just a numbers game. And so I would say that encouragement should come from what your goals are. Encouragement should come from that end result. You know what I'm saying? So whatever your mission is, you know, always keep that in your mind's eye. Business is not personal, right? And so that what happens is we attach, like, you know, personal emotions to business. And so somebody says no, we take that personally. But at the end of the day, they probably just don't see the vision of what we're trying to do yet. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? God didn't give them the vision. God gave you the vision. And so if you stop because somebody told you no, then you didn't really believe in your vision. You know what I'm saying? Like, I promise you. And this is a real fact, right? I won't say no names because I work with them now. But it's a real fact. Like 11 years ago, you know, I went to a certain company and I was pitching like financial education, same stuff, hip hop and money and all that stuff. If you think about it, right, my first book is called Buy Right, Money Right. It's a Jay-Z and Memphis Bleak song. I wrote that in 2009. So
you was already ahead of the game.
Yeah, I've been on that wave. I've been on the wave. But the problem was a lot of people didn't see the vision. People were like, yo, you can't mix money with hip hop because it doesn't make sense, right? So I've been on the wave since 2009, and there was a company that I went to that I was asking to do collaborations with, and they were like, yo, literally told me black people don't want to learn about money. Like literally. No, I mean, but it is what it is. Years later, you know what I mean? They got the message, and then they tapped me to do some stuff for them. And you know what I'm saying? And it's all good. So that's the other message I would tell the entrepreneurs is that if just because somebody tell you no, don't take it personal and be like, yo, when I get on, I'm a ish on them. Nah, because if your mission is your mission and they can still help you fulfill that mission, then are you doing it for your ego or are you doing it for the mission? Right. And so that's, for me, I always keep the mission, right? Like that's why I will collaborate with anybody. There's tons of other finance experts out here who I do stuff with. I'll be on their platform. They'll be on my platform because this is not about a competition. I'm not trying to be the best black financial educator out here. At the end of the day, what Ho said, he said, yo, it's not many of us. I told him less than more. It's plenty of us. Like at the end of the day, like we need more and more people educating. My goal isn't to get the accolades because truth be told, there's a lot of stuff that I do behind the scenes that people don't know about. There's a lot of masterminding. There's a lot of, you know, big names that y'all know that I've masterminded with, that gave ideas with, that they executed on, that I don't take no credit for, because at the end of the day, it's about the mission. And so I look and I see them winning, I'm like, yes, because if they win, I win. And always having that, it's abundant. Like nobody can do what I do. I can give you the whole blueprint. I can lay it down to you. I can tell you exactly how I did it. But there is only one Ash Cash on this earth. There is nobody else that can do what Ash could do. And I'm okay with that. And so and I know that. So me not helping somebody else and trying to hate and block somebody else means that I don't even believe, that's disrespectful to me. If somebody come to me and ask me for some game, and I'm like, nah, I'm not giving them this game because they could take what? Right? So that's disrespectful first and foremost to me. But then second of all, I'm always keeping the mission in the back of my head. And so when people tell me no, I don't take it personal. When people tell me no, I ain't trying to get to a level so I can stun on you. It's always love. If you told me no 10 years ago or 2 years ago or last year, and then a year later you need me and you like, yo, Ash, can you help? If I see that it could push the mission, then yes, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And I think entrepreneurs should keep that in mind, that keep your personal feelings out of it. Always think, is it good business and does it push your mission? If it's good business and it pushes your mission, then go for it. But here's the other caveat to that though too. Just because your skin folk don't mean they're your kinfolk, right?
That's right.
So I'm not saying, and I'll be clear, there are other people who have tried to collaborate with me, but in my soul, it didn't feel right. And I said, nah, even though it might have looked on the surface like it would push the culture forward, right? Like I'm like, yo, if me and this king got together, or me and this person got together, like, it would be problems. Like, we would set a statement. But I always listen to that gut, B. If that gut tell me, yo, something don't feel right, then I'm social distancing. Not 6 feet either. I'm social distancing a lot of feet. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, protecting that spirit.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Ash, man, your books are amazing. It's a lot of young writers out there who want to write, but they're probably intimidated about starting a book. What strategies could they apply to really start that process of starting the book, outlining it, knowing how to publish it, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, don't be afraid to be you. You know, I didn't start seeing like full success until I was unapologetically me. I was willing to just be who I am. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to hip hop since I was like 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? Big Daddy Kane, MC Light, Special Ed, like those were the cats I kind of came up on. And so I've always been a hip hop guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been in the finance world since I've been 19 years old. So I've always known money. And so I just decided that I'll merge the two and just be exactly who I am. And so number one, I say, whatever you write about, be authentic about it. Don't try to write something that you think is just a good idea or could make a lot of money. Just write something that is authentically you. Number two, I would say, you know, write with the end in mind. Think about, you know, when somebody reads this book, what do you want them to get out of it? And then once you figure out what you want people to get out of it, that's going to help you outline your book and say, all right, if I want them to get this out of it, then how am I gonna get them there? Like, for instance, right? I wrote this book. This book is called What the FICO, 12 Steps to Repairing Your Credit. When I wrote the book, I said, yo, what do I want people to get? I want people to understand the 12 steps of fixing their credit. When they get out of here, how do they fix their credit, but then also how do they maintain a good credit score? And so I started with the end in mind. It takes less than 12 steps to fix your credit. But what I said was I wanted to create steps that allows people to never need a credit repair book ever again, right?
Wow.
And so I created all these 12 steps that help you not only fix your credit, but it also gets you to a space where you can manage your credit in the right way. And so now when I'm outlining it, I'm like, all right, what are the steps? And I create the steps from beginning to end. And these steps are what's going to help people, fix their credit, get to the right space. And then from there, it's really about teaching it. You know, I used to write books. I don't write books anymore. I dictate books. And so I would tell everybody, create a workshop. Once you outline your book, create a workshop as if you're teaching it to somebody and literally dictate it. Like, I literally dictate all of my books. And then once I dictate it, I didn't get it transcribed. I actually found a new app called Otter, Otter, and that's helped me a lot. And so what I do is, I talk into Otter. You know, I pretend like I'm in a class somewhere teaching something, and then I transcribe it, and the rest is history, right? That's the hardest part, is getting what you got up here into like pen and paper, and dictating it is the fastest way. And so that's what I would say. I would tell people, number one, start with the end in mind. Number two, make sure you're outlining that end, and then number three, dictate your book.
Awesome. Hey, it's free game, guys.
Yeah. And I also charge for this too. So if you want more, right? Because like part of it is writing the book. The other part is marketing it and promoting it. Definitely go to mindwrite.com. I have a course that I teach all the game. It's a 90-step program. So how you write and publish your book in 90 days. I give you templates of how to reach out to television, producers, how to get on blogs, how to get interviews, all that. But you know what I mean? So tap in if you need it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Ash, for everybody, again, that's young, that's coming up, what are the first steps that they should take to really start building that credit score? What should they start off?
Yeah, I think number one is just understanding how credit works. You know what I'm saying? I like to call it the 35, 30, 15, 10, 10. 35% of your score is your payment history, 30% of your score is your usage ratio, 15% of your score is the length of credit history, 10% of your score is your credit mix, and the other 10% is any new credit that you have. Understanding that 65%, 35 and 30, 65% of your score is based on your payment history and is based on your usage ratio, which means that as long as you're paying your bills on time, you're making sure that you don't have any collections and you're not late, then you are in a good place as it relates to your credit. Number two, that 30% of your score is really important, because that 30% usage, a lot of times people think, yo, I got $1,000 credit card, so so I'm going to use $1,000. No, if you use $1,000, you're negatively affecting your credit. And so, in fact, you need to stay 30% or lower. If you have $1,000 credit card, make sure that you're pretending that your credit limit is only $300, which is 30% of your score. And to take it a step further, your credit score goes from 350 to 300 to 850, and anything over 720 is excellent credit. The fact of the matter is, anybody who has a 720 or above usually has a lower than 10% usage ratio. And so, if you want to take it a step further, that $1,000 card, pretend that you only have $100, and if you keep doing that, that's 65% of your score, and then you'll build it. So I think if you understand how credit works, then you'll understand, how to use it in a proper way in order to manage your credit the right way.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And when it comes to homes, households, how should people buy properties, and how should they use that towards their credit?
Yeah, so I also answered to an investor asked, is that 30% for each card?
Right.
Which is a great question. It's 30% aggregate, and so it's 30% for the aggregate amount of what you have in revolving lines of credit, and that's important because loans don't count towards that 30%. And so there's a difference between having a home loan and a home equity line of credit, right? Line of credit or revolving credit just means as you use it, you pay it back, you have it available to you again. And so if you do that, right, it's a revolving credit, and so it's 30% of your total amount of revolving credit. But to your point about homes, I think that using credit to buy a home is good. If I could do it over, like my first home, I bought my first home to live in. If I could have done it over, I would have bought my first home as an investment property, and I would have rented out the others. So that way, I'm always using debt to give me cash flow and income. And so any young person out there who's thinking about home purchasing or whatever, I would definitely look into potentially being the lord of your land, right? So instead of just paying rent or paying a mortgage, which is still paying rent to your mortgage company, figure out how you can make money from it. And so there's a way that you could potentially take that money and be able to, or take that mortgage, buy a property that is income producing, whether it's a multifamily, that you can like rent out and start making money from that. But, again, you have to have, good credit, especially when you think about now, right? Like people used to use FHA loans, for instance, to buy houses at 3% down. But now, they're strictening, their guidelines, like the credit scores went up to 680. It used to be 580, but now you have to have a 680. If you have 500 or lower, you got to put 10% down. So things are changing. And so you want to make sure that you're focusing on your credit so that you still have an opportunity to build wealth using and leveraging your credit.
That's real, man. As during this time, the coronavirus, people are locked in the crib, locked in home, not knowing like what to do. For the entrepreneurs, what things could they be doing during this time working on their businesses?
Yeah, I think two things everybody should definitely do, or three things. Number one, get your mind right? And so that means staying active, whether it's exercising, meditating, praying. Make sure your mind is right because I don't care, who you are, what you do. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to get anywhere in life, right? And so number one, that's number one. Number two, I would sharpen the axe, right? Make sure that you're reading, you're learning, you're understanding what this world is going to look like, post COVID-19. Yes. What are the things that you can do in order to stay on top of technology? What are those services, right? There are more millionaires are made during downtimes, recessions than any other time. And so how can you be part of that, right? So think about, what can you learn? What problems are out there? How can you learn to solve those problems? Number two. And then number three, just learn how to pivot. Everybody's home, but people still need products and services. And so how can you take your business and start offering products and services? Don't spend so much time on planning. And I know that might be counter to what other people say, but I think planning is like the antithesis to success. It's like you spend all this time going to school, and then when you get out in the real world, you're like, yo, I never learned this. I mean, I learned this in school, but I didn't learn that. And then you're learning on the job. And so when I say planning is the antithesis to success, I'm saying don't spend all your time, planning and figuring things out. Just go, just do it, right? Like right now, like as you hear my voice, if you got an idea for an ebook, spend an hour and write down the steps and put it out tomorrow. I'm talking about tomorrow. Like, don't wait. Don't be like, I'm gonna do it next week. I'm gonna do it. No.
Yeah.
Yo, take 2 hours, right? An ebook. Yo, I promise you, an ebook you can do in 2 hours. Take your ebook. Say, yo, you know what? I know how to teach about this. Write it down for 2 hours. Exactly what I told you. I said you could dictate it. So take your Otter app and literally dictate what you just said, right? You just wrote down for 2 hours, dictate it, say it for 2 hours, whatever. Transcribe it, edit it, put it in Microsoft Word. Go to Fiverr tomorrow, pay somebody $10 to do a cover. Go to Shopify, open your account, and boom, right there. You now got an ebook that you can sell, right? And then figure it out. If people don't buy it, then what do you need to tweak, right? Like, learn on the job, like, learn while you're doing it. Like, stop waiting. You know what I'm saying? Time is the one thing that you don't have. If the Rona did not teach you that, if she ain't teach you that time is something that you don't have, then you're missing the point, right? What you say? If you're holding up the ball, then you're missing the point. So you're missing the point. The point is you ain't got time. So go out, do what you need to do right now, and adjust. Pivot while you out there. Think about it. Like when the ball go up, somebody playing in the NBA, the ball go up, they figure and adjust as they playing. They not sitting on the sideline like, yo, get on the court, and the point guard got the ball and he's trying to figure it out. It's like as he's doing it, he's like, all right, what's the best play to get that in the bucket? So get in the game.
Big facts, man. One of the last two questions for you, Ash. Question number one: what drives you every single morning to just get up and get it every single day?
Yeah, so a couple of things I think. So number one, just the fact that I woke up. You know, 150,000 people die every single day.
Wow.
And I do not take it for granted. I've had like near death experiences as a youngin. And I'll be honest, when I look at my life, I mean, I live a great life, yo. Like I live a great life. Not just from a material perspective, but from, you know, I got a great family, I got a great support system. I got a, you know what I mean? All praises due to Allah for such an illustrious platform. Like I got a dope platform where I get to talk to people every day. Not everybody has that. And so I you know, every day I wake up, I think it would be disrespectful if I didn't go out and just be my best. Like, it'd be disrespectful to all the people that died who wish that they had another hour, right? Who wish they had another 20 seconds, right? There's people who's dead, like they died, they done, and they did not know that 2020 was gonna be their last year. Like, they not here, and I'll be so disrespectful if I woke up this morning and I just stood in my bed and I was like, yo, I'm good. Let me kick back my feet. That'd be so disrespectful to all the fallen soldiers, to all the people who wish they had the time that I had. So I wake up every day just grateful for air. Like, I'm grateful that I got it. And now that I got it, I got to honor God, yo. That's right. I got to honor God, and I need to be the best I can be. So that's number one. Number two, it's along the same lines, but it's a little different. I used to say to myself, and I said this a little earlier, but I'll expound. I used to say to myself, I wish there were people out there showing me the way, right? Specifically, though, like, I'm from 129th Street and 8th Avenue. I'm from Harlem.
You from Harlem? Yeah.
Like, I'm from Harlem. Like, not like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not from 110th and Central Park West. Yeah. I'm from 129th and 8th Avenue. I'm from the belly of the beast, right?
Yes, sir.
I got family who are in jail and who will never see the daylight ever again. I got one of my homies doing 65 years to life who never see the daylight ever. I got dudes who just came home, right? And so I want people to live vicariously through me. Like I want to show, yo, look how far you could take this, right? And I want to inspire people, because there's a young cat who's in Harlem, who's in Compton, who's in Crenshaw, who's in Detroit, who's in Chirac, who's in Newark, New Jersey, who's in Camden, who's like, yo, ain't nothing I could do because I wasn't dealt this hand. I wasn't dealt the hand either, and so I need to be a demonstration. So I wake up every day, and that's why I make it clear. If you look at any videos, right, that I've ever done, I'm talking about national platforms, I make it clear. I am from 129th Street and 8th Avenue. I am not from Parsippany, New Jersey. No disrespect to Parsippany. It just sounds like a nice place. But I ain't from there. And I make that clear every single day. And so I do that so people can know that you could get it out the mud, but you could also like live a great life. And so I just want to be that demonstration. I want my life I want people to look at my life, whether it's directly or indirectly, and say, yo, man, this dude is just like me. And so if he could do it, I could do it. So it's those two things that keep me going every single day. And that's why I talk with so much passion, right? Like this ain't like I'm legit just happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy to be here. You know what I mean?
I love it, King. Last question, man, before we go. Where do you see yourself within the next 5 years, and what's next for Ash? What's next?
Yeah, so the great thing about what I do is that there's no amount of money that could change what I'm doing. So I'm doing what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Like that's it, right? The only difference is at what level is God going to allow me to do it, right? And so I'm like, anybody who knows me knows that I've been doing this like 10 years ago. I was doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I got a bigger platform now, right? So like, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I might have had 50 people on a mailing list, still teaching them about money, still motivating them. You know what I'm saying? Then, I was able to reach, hundreds of thousands of people. Now, millions of people. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just a progression of the amount of people I'm able to touch. But in God's will, I would love to continue to write more books. And so I got 8 books right now. 4 of them have been bestsellers. Right now, I have at least 20 more books in me. And so I'm going to write more books. I'm going to be more active. And so, whether it's, being on live every day, ultimately I want to create my own studio and have my own show. I got some Emmy Awards in my future. And so, so I want to win some Emmy Awards for motivating people financially. New York Times bestseller. I want to sell 1 million books. Like that's a goal of mine. So it's really the same thing that I'm doing now, but just at a different level. Selling more books, being on television, creating a syndicated radio show, whether it's a podcast or a traditional radio show. Continuing to travel. Definitely want to start doing international travel. But right now, because Roro, I literally got my passport this year because I had a passport that expired, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna get the passport. I literally got the passport in January, and then Roro was like, "Hola, brethren, you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere." So maybe in 22, I'll do some international travel, but God willing, inshallah.
Hey, we're gonna speak it all into existence, man. Yeah. Ash, man, again, King, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this interview, man. You dropped so many gems. Thank you, King. This will be posted on YouTube probably tomorrow. So once it's posted, I'll make sure to send it to you. So I got you. But thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Salute, King. Thank you for what you're doing, man. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like the voice is needed. Keep going, bro. Keep going for sure.
Thank you, Ash. Hey, you be safe out there too, man. Appreciate it.
Likewise, man. Salute, King.
Much love. All right, y'all. If you guys can, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Follow us on IG, of course. Like our channel on YouTube. We thank you all so much. Follow us right now. If you can, subscribe to our channel right now. We got interviews coming every single week, and we got another one coming on Friday. We appreciate y'all, and we love you. My name is Caleb Smith, host of the 3 Milli Podcast. Much love. Peace.